Hello, I'm Ninja Greg, and you're watching The Ninja Greg Show. You know, with it being October and all, this is the time of year when certain franchises start bringing out their Halloween specials, or certain TV shows bring out Halloween-themed episodes, and you expect a lot of them to do it. My Little Pony has done it a few times with a couple of Nightmare Night episodes. The first half of season 3 of Nickelodeon's Ninja Turtles was almost entirely horror themed. So, and even the classic Ninja Turtles, or the 2003 series, they had the occasional Halloween episode. But one of the more unlikely, at least in my opinion, franchises to tackle something horror related is Star Wars, which is usually surprising to see them do something horror related. So that's what this video is going to be about today. The few times that, to my knowledge, Star Wars has actually done something horror related. Starting off with this book that's no longer canon, by the way. Thank you, Disney. Star Wars Death Troopers. Now, I don't know what inspired this book to be written, but I first saw the idea of zombie stormtroopers when I was attending MegaCon, and I saw, well, Star Wars artwork, but with a zombie touch to it, and I saw a statue of a Death Trooper, basically a stormtrooper with dirty, bloodied armor and holes in their eye and mouth holes. So you can see their kind of bony, decayed faces partially hidden underneath. And then, of course, this book comes along, written by Joe Schreiber, who, if you've read some of the Star Wars books, his name should sound familiar, but right off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that he's written. But I know he has written some other Star Wars books that I've read before, but I just can't think of the titles. Now, this particular copy I have, on the back here, it says, "See full color poster" on the flip side of this book jacket. And I'm going to show that to you right now. It's nothing spectacular. It's basically the front cover again, so yeah, you might as well just leave the book jacket on. But what this basically is, it's basically Star Wars meets Resident Evil, a story about a virus that sounds rather nasty and eventually kills off any of the victims that are infected with it, only to have said victims come back from the dead as zombies, hungry for any flesh they can get upon or get their hands on. So yeah, it's about a zombie plague that breaks out on board a Death Star, or not a Death Star, a Star Destroyer, and carries over to a prison vessel called the Purge, wherein one of the key characters is, let me see if I can find her name in here. It is Dr. Zahara Cody. Yeah, she makes this vaccine to try and counteract the symptoms of the virus, and also encounters Han Solo and Chewbacca. Now, as for the story, yeah, it does a kind of an okay job of setting up kind of an unsettling atmosphere. I mean, we don't get Han Solo and Chewbacca right away. They're somewhere in the middle, but a little bit closer to the end of the book, and it focuses on the Doctor and her job in the prison. And you see the beginning stages of the plague as this thing starts to spread throughout the prison, and more prisoners start dying and coming back as zombies. So while it does a good job of setting up the atmosphere, part of me couldn't help but feel that Chewbacca and Han Solo were kind of shoehorned into the story to give it a little star power, if you will. I mean, it probably could have done just fine without them, just be a story about survival in a really horrible situation. but I didn't think they were completely necessary to have to the story. And when they show up, there's really no tension. I mean, this story takes place sometime before the events of A New Hope, I think. I was just looking over at my shelf because I have all these books organized in chronological order. So I was trying to get a gauge of when exactly it comes out. But yeah, if it does come out before the events of A New Hope, which I really think it does, you know they're going to make it out of this situation fine because, well, both Han Solo and Chewbacca are two of the biggest main characters in Star Wars A New Hope. So Chewbacca does get infected, but one, it doesn't last very long, and he's cured pretty much instantly, thanks to Dr. Cody's quick work. And two, like I said, there's no tension because you know Chewbacca's going to make it through this. So yeah, it's okay, I guess, but it's clear that this sort of story isn't Star Wars' strong suit. You know, you think Star Wars, you usually think, space fantasy, packed with action and adventure, not so much a zombie story. And yet, for some reason, they keep coming back to this, because another zombie story that takes place during the days of the Old Republic, so long before Episode 1, or heck, even long before any of the... It's several thousand years before the events of Episode 1. But yeah, we get this story. Don't know how well you can see that, but it's Star Wars Red Harvest. I have the audiobook version here because I'm borrowing it from my library because I don't have the actual book. It's part of my collection. And I don't want to show you the cover because the cover does not reflect the actual book cover that I've seen around. So I'm trying to show you the disc, see if you can see the picture on the disc. Let me take one out here, maybe that'll work better. That's kind of what the cover looks like. Oh, one of them. Another one is a hand holding a red lightsaber coming up out of the snow. Looks pretty cool. I've got a poster back here with all the book covers on them, so I might show that to you real quick. Okay, Red Harvest, Red Harvest. That's it. That's one of the covers for Red Harvest. So, yeah. One of the ancient, or not one of the ancient, but an ancient, because it's several thousand years before Episode 1, an ancient Sith Lord named Darth Scabrous is using some kind of strange mixture where the key ingredient is this black orchid that he gets his hands on, and he takes the students of a Sith Academy and essentially turns them into zombies by pumping them full of this strange concoction which kills them, and then they keep coming back. And in all honesty, Red Harvest really isn't that much different than Death Troopers. True, there aren't any recognizable names in it, so no star power to speak of. But yeah, it's basically another zombie tale with more and more zombies coming around as this plague, this disease, whatever it is spreading around. Now, as of this moment, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm very nearly done. So I can only tell you what I know so far. As of yet, I don't really know why Darth Scabrous is making his students into zombies, so I can't tell you that. But yeah, it's okay. And one more tale that I've heard of is actually a comic book form, which I don't have, but I heard about it recently. a comic called Star Wars Tales. Issue number 17, I think, Planet of the Dead. Another spooky horror story that stars Han Solo and Chewbacca that land on a planet full of ghosts. And that one's a little bit better, I think, but after Death Troopers, it's just kind of retreading the same thing, I think. So I don't know. If you like these Star Wars horror stories, go ahead, check them out if you want. If you want to read the books, you're not. It's not going to hurt you. It's not boring, but it's not my cup of tea. Let me just put it that way. I mean, they're all right, but they don't really accomplish anything. You're not missing out by not knowing about these stories. And yet here I am telling you about them anyways. But yeah, Star Wars and their horror stories, sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. Honestly, I think that they should just focus on trying to make the villains scary instead of making scary stories. I mean, look at Darth Maul over here. He's been several times been compared to a demon, what with his red skin and his vestigial horns on his head. And of course, the ultimate baddie in the Star Wars universe is Darth Vader. And recently you got Kylo Ren, who, while not as intimidating as Vader, is definitely a little bit more disturbed. So yeah, Star Wars, focus on making your bad guys scary, but I don't think the scary stories are really your strong suit. Stick to the fun action adventures that we all know and love Star Wars for. Anyways, I'm Ninja Greg. You've been watching the Ninja Greg Show. I'll see you next time.